without taking much time, we have the fifth keynote speaker. Then we will have the last sixth keynote speaker joining us from UK. Now, the fifth keynote speaker is Professor Dr. Paritosh Basu. He is an eminent academician, a senior professor and chairperson of MBA and MIM's University School of Business Management. And he has the background of 34 years of corporate experience in finance, accounting, reporting, strategic planning, and IT enablement, and engaged in several research and consulting activities. So we requested him to talk about the remodeling the corporate businesses for new normal and amid COVID and in the post-math. Well, he has added something to this. This was my proposition, but he will come up with some new ideas. May I now request Professor Dr. Paritosh Basu to confirm your presence? Well, very nice, sir. Nice to see you. And welcome to this international conference. Over to you, sir. The floor is with you.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Professor. Thank you, Dr. Dasaraju. Thank you, Dr. Devraj Paneru, for having me in this conference. I'm extremely delighted to be amongst you this afternoon. I'm also delighted that this is my first interaction with an organization which is in Nepal. So I was very keen to participate in this conference. Thank you so much. My area of presentation of today would be a unique item, which I'm sure many of you will agree that is the need of the hour of today. And from that perspective, I will talk about a new paradigm which is coming up, where startups are becoming unicorns and unicorns. And from that perspective, there are thousands and thousands of ideas to solve the problems of society and giving better life to humanity is there with our entrepreneurs and innovators and inventors. But unfortunately, they die because there is no availability of fund. In fact, angels and VCs and PEs, they are not interested if the fund requirement is low. So here is a case which is something on crowdfunding. We are working on this as a research topic, and while working on this as a research topic, we are also trying to understand and viewpoints of various research scholars. So my objective would be to take viewpoints from research scholars. I have written so far 28 papers on digital transformation, and this particular paper is based on two of my papers published in November and December on crowdfunding. I'll be using a couple of research publications oriented inputs in this and a few graphics. So I'm grateful to all those contributors to this presentation. Now, let me begin my main part of the presentation. Crowdfunding is not definitely a new phenomena. It is based on the axiom, many drops make an ocean. And that axiom started somewhere in 1713, where Alexander Pope, a poet from Europe, tried to gather money for translating Homer's Iliad into English. And he asked 750 donors to donate 2 gold guineas, whose name he promised to include in that book. In 1885, a journalist and a newspaper editor, Joseph Pulitzer, he arranged for crowdfunding for putting the Statue of Liberty in the city of New York on a pedestal, which was waiting for money to be put there. In 2015, in Rotterdam studio, JDUS, there was a bridge which was built for 400 meters long bridge, and 8,000 people of that area participated in funding that particular bridge. So it's history. It's more than about 400 years around old. And in India, people say, of course, it's an unconfirmed story that Dhirubhai Ambani's textile business was considered to be the new father of capital market of India, it started with crowdfunding from people in the locality of Dhirubhai Ambani. So, coming from that perspective, I will like to recall Darwin's theory. Anaximander, a Greek philosopher, he postulated the development of life from non-life and the evolutionary descent of man from animal. So this evolution, which we perhaps in India or could be in Nepal, we have not gone into that detail of making crowdfunding except for donation and charity purpose into corporate perspective. So keeping in view the topic for me, I'm trying to broad this topic, and I'm sure there will be benefits. We are open for working on research for this topic and a couple of other topics with scholars and professors of your university, and we'll be definitely looking forward to your projects. So Darwin said that there is a transformation, and India is in the context of a cusp of a Darwinian moment for pervasive digital transformation, and the flow of which is gaining acceleration. I'm sure Nepal is no exception to it. According to my personal perspective, startups collectively is a digital river which will continue to irrigate the world with financial inclusion and shared values. And this financial inclusions and shared values is the most important for the humanity today, when the difference between haves and have-nots are increasing day by day. So I'm sure that little contribution for innovationians and startupians with their ideas will definitely contribute to the river of national GDP growth and finally the world economy. But sadly, they need funds. I had a lot of discussions with young students, young executives, digital scientists, technology professionals, high net worth individuals, and progressive homemakers. They would like to consider funding startup as a avenue, as a new asset class for them, and they would not like to put all the money into one, but definitely they would like to join the digital revolution. Similarly, corporate houses who have already joined the Industry 4.0 era revolution, they are also trying to look for their joining, of course, not as a full-fledged fund providing guys, but they are joining. So distributors and stockists, corporate are also in search of innovative products, because day by day, digital solutions are coming up with digital devices. So they are also looking for products which are being thrown up by these startups. So manufacturers are also there. So for putting money into startups and helping them and finally serve their own purposes. So startups can provide a huge scope for transmutation of crowdfunding and offer a new asset class as not even a competitor, perhaps could be a complementing asset class for mutual funds, etc. So how this asset class will perform? So it can perform from people to startups and business to startup. In the context of people to startup, it will be funding for equity with or without options for transfer of investors under buybacks by the startups. So at equity, it will also be a people to startup. It could be your own employed people in the startup, or it could be service providers or contractors or operational vendors who can take equity instead of taking money for helping the startups. Startups can also accept lending from people, and this lending can be of three categories. One is a reward-based lending. Suppose a startup is coming up with a hugely innovative products and which people are looking for. As soon as they're coming in the market, they would like to buy. So these guys who are ready to look for that product, they will definitely fund that startup by way of an advance, and his advance will be settled by giving rewards, and the rewards could be discounts and priority of delivery. They can take interest also with or without collaborative collaterals on future assets, because startup has got hardly anything to offer at the beginning time of their journey. So they can look for interest. There can be moratorium for interest also at the beginning. This lending can be also by way of advance and loan, which will be finally converted to equity, and that options for equity could be in the form of quasi-equity instruments. Business also can give money to startups through crowdfunding, funding for equity share, quasi-equity instrument. It can look for consideration in kind, that is giving services to startups, providing raw materials to startup, providing any other services to startup. Lenders can give money to startups for preserving their right as a distributor and channel partnership when the startup comes up with money, or again supply of products in future with or without discount. So manufacturers who are, suppose there are drone manufacturers and they are looking for some advanced parts for assembling drones, and startup is coming up with this. Definitely that particular manufacturer can participate with kind of fund given in advance. So what is the state of readiness a startup should achieve before going for startup? First, he must define what are the goals. What is the quantum of money the startupian wants to gather from this crowdfunding? Next is talk to experienced people who have already gone through the drudgery and hardship of gathering money for their startups. They can listen and gather from their learning experience and learning inputs. You have video story. Of course, information you will be sharing on a need-to-know basis. Otherwise, your product will be copied even before it is patented. If it is patented, there is no issue. And this video or the campaign you have to run to a campaign platform. In India, the platforms are not much, except for donation platforms like Keto. I'm sure these platforms will come up as soon as regulatory provisions are put in place. Create contents and with an information on a need-to-know basis, and these contents should be visually appealing. Before you go to a crowdfunding campaign platform, you should activate your inner circle through social media, your inner circle of family, friends, and mentors and well-wishers. They should be pre-alerted, because there are world-level experience that campaigns may fail, and minimum money which has been committed for the platform, this inner circle network may put the money, or momentum can gain if the disclosure in the campaign platform is that 50% money has been received. Something of that sort.
Professor Basu will be obliged if you could wrap up in 2 minutes more, sir.
I'll do that. I'll be doing that. No issues. Have every type of scheme ready. Whatever scheme is ready. Responsibilities for people to do their jobs, because you cannot fail in that startup campaign, and you should keep provision open for funds. Our proposal, particularly my proposal, I've written about 8 to 9 papers on blockchain technology. We want this startup funding campaign, and the entire transactional positions and transactional flow should be done through a digital ledger technology-based platform, which is a blockchain platform. This will help us to do the KYP, that is know your participant. It will be a dual key mechanism, private key and public key. I don't need to explain what are the benefits of blockchain platform. There will be smart contract-based agreements and risk enablement of transaction to embedded smart contracts in the platform. You can do cross-border funding also, like the world can be your addressable audience if you comply with the world level regulations, which is possible through smart contract. Generating transaction data, you can do it from DA for accounting and reporting. You can create digitalized documentation for storage and easy retrieval. And you can finally integrate with central bank digital currency, which are expected to be launched by many countries within 1 or 2 years. Till such time, it can be transacted outside the system with fiat currency. And finally, encryption, which is going to provide you safety, security, transparency, etc. This is my last appeal to various government authorities and regulators. Please help us to position crowdfunding as a new asset class. Please allow the whole mass to participate in the digital transformation story of startups and reach solutions to the lower rung of the society. So we need an enabling act like the Jobs Act or Jumpstart Our Business Startup Act, like in USA 2012, which was enacted in Barack Obama's time. Our security regulators must recognize crowdfunding as an asset class. It need not be tokenized in blockchain platform, or maybe tokenized, whatever way you want to decide. Central Board of Direct Taxes must give enabling provision for initial announcement of this campaign or movement. Central Bank should give foreign investors enough route to participate in crowdfunding through Indian campaign platform. And finally, Advertising Standard Council of India must give a code of standard for conducting campaign through the startup campaigning platform, that is this blockchain platform. Because what we have seen that Advertisement Standard Council of India, or for that matter any country, might have not given any standard for cryptocurrency advertisement. So we want to look for these standards. Thank you very much indeed. If anybody has any question on this, I shall be grateful to answer.
Thank you, Professor Dr. Paritosh Basu, for your research paper-based keynote speech on the transmutation of crowdfunding. That's a new idea, a novel idea that you have brought to the mass of learners and also communities of knowledge, and no doubt to the governments. So we have learned something like scintillating the milestones of crowdfunding. So that is like how we can make it a signing project. And we obviously, we take your digital river, the concept of digital river, the definition of digital river as a remarkable take. And at the same time, you have also connected the GDP, and obviously for the mass of the scholars, like who should be the participants, that's a concerning point. And concerning that, yes, of course, young students, entrepreneurs, young scientists, technology professionals, high net worth individuals, progressive homemakers, all could be the participants of this crowdfunding concept. So from corporate investors to business to the startups, that way we can make a digital river, of course, a crowdfunding river. And with this key takeaway from you, we would like to extend our sincere acknowledgement and thank you so much, Professor Dr. Paritosh Basu, for this research dissemination to our mass of the students, faculty, and the researchers from different parts of the globe. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you.
Now it's